Oh, I thought she said something bad. I thought she said, oh. No, Miss Connor, I thought you said something bad. What did you say? I thought you said, oh, I think.
Yes, I do. I don't have a pencil. Here. Like, can I put it on the inside of ramen?
Anyone else need a pencil? Anyone else need a pencil? Compact, remember you are doing my lesson today. You guys are not doing your own separate lessons. You also need your notebooks out and a pencil. Computers are closed. Okay, so last check before we start here. Everyone has their notebook out, open to the blank page. And everyone has a pencil.
Yes.
We have 2 items, pencil and your notebook.
What about Eric?
Aaron's close your computer, please.
See my nails, they're tiny.
I know, you guys are so used to the normal thing of just getting on to each one, but we're not going to do that today. Frosted, whatever that is, put it away, please. Thank you. Alright, here we go today, guys.
We do ASMR.
Keenan. Okay. Here we go, guys. Notebooks are open to a fresh page. Thank you for coming in and getting transition. I know our assembly went a little long and our transition was a little bit of extra time because I had to help Mr. G get set up over there. So, our title for today is Coordinate Plane.
Yay! I like coordinate plane.
Okay, coordinate plane, a lot of what we're going to talk about today is hopefully review to you. Once you get your title down, I want you to discuss with your table mates. What do you know about a coordinate plane? What do you think it is? What does it mean? Okay, I'll give you about 1 minute to get the title down and discuss with the people in the next 2
A coordinate plane is basically a square with a bunch of squares in it. What's a square?
Tanner, you little dog. Chicken.
What is a coordinate plane? You're not talking across the room to Brandon and to we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, talk with Kate and then leave. Alright guys, eyes back up here please. Can someone share with me what is a coordinate plane? Hadley.
Okay, so a coordinate plane is basically a big box, and in the middle of it, it's a big
No, that's like
thing. And one of the sections is where X and Y is, and you go up 3. Let's say you go up 3 from X, and go to side 4 from Y.
Okay.
You get 3/4, and on the other ones you can go down, side, up. Or you can go diagonal too.
Okay. Any other
Non-purple
answers?
though.
Leanne?
When do we get to use Z on our coordinates?
When you get what?
When do we get to use Z?
So you're using
Z, that would be in likely for you guys 8th grade and 6th grade. Guys, incredibly rude because I'll tell you right now, do any of you even know who's talking?
Leon.
Point to the person talking.
Oh. Shaquille O'Neal.
Incredibly upsetting that some of you are being so disrespectful to your peers right now after the conversations we had last week. Xander, can you please repeat yourself? And I want everyone to know talk and everyone's eyes to be on Xander. Great, awesome. Sounds like a lot of you already know a lot about the plane. And some of you were already referring to what is over there on the whiteboard today. We are going to be losing that. Hadley got to watch me make it this morning.
And I got stuff on it.
Struggle to make it this morning.
I got
So,
stuff on it. This is your shower curtain.
yes, ma'am.
So, I know what chord to play. Like,
Okay, I love that you know and you got to talk to your table, but we got to move on right now.
it means the baby word.
So, our learning goal for today is I can reflect, which that's a new word for us for math. I can reflect an ordered pair
I can reflect. So,
across any given axis. So, learning goal is I can reflect an ordered pair across any given axis. Okay, I know most of you are probably like, Miss Connie, I don't even know what that means. That's okay, we're going to talk about it. So, starting down here, I would like you to draw 2 number lines. One going this way, one going this way. Okay, both have 0.
0, 0.
Okay, and we talked about this last week in our notes when we talked about positive and negative numbers, and we talked about absolute value. Okay, going to the right of our number line is going to be positive numbers. To the left would be negative. Okay, and up and down number line, up would be positive, and down would be negative. Okay, this is some review here. Okay, from what you guys know already, from what it sounds like you know about a graph or a coordinate plane, I heard Hadley use the word there's an X line and a Y line. Which one of these is the X and which one is the Y? Victor?
the X is the one going that one, and Y is going. Because Y becomes before X in the alphabet.
Other one. X comes before Y.
I know that.
Okay. So X comes before Y, so we are going to do X for this one that goes across, and Y for this one that goes up and down. The other words we can use for that, this one would be a horizontal line, right? Your horizontal line, the one that's flat, that one's X, and your one that goes up and down is a vertical line. Okay, those are the more official terms rather than side to side and up and down, so we're going to start using those, horizontal and vertical. Okay, and again, it sounds like you guys already know quite a lot about the coordinate plane, but if I take these two lines and I cross them over each other at these 0 points, so where 0 and 0 are, I get something that looks like this.
We're taking a dude.
Yes.
Okay, and Victor just told me X is this line that is horizontal, Y is this line that is vertical.
Well, I just said one thing I do.
Not a problem.
I don't need an echo. Go ahead and label your two lines the same way that we labeled this one, but we're going to go to 4 for this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, -2, -3, -4. Okay, and then same thing for up and down. You don't need to put a 0 because we know that 0 is where these two lines cross.
I have ice.
Kathleen, focus on that, please. Victor, you're gonna have to come back over here if you can't focus over there. Because I moved you over there so you can see. Okay. So the part of this graph that you are most familiar is this one right here. I'm gonna put a star in it because this is the one you guys know. Okay, this is where if we look to the side and up, Keenan. To the side and up, both are positive. Okay, this section here, both are positive. This is how we've done a lot of graphing this year, is in this part of your graph. And we kind of ignored these other 3 sections. Okay, this one is very special because this one is called quadrant
And plane.
1. And we're going to do one like this. It kind of looks like the letter I. Quadrant 1. Okay, quadrant 1, this is the one that we know. This is the one we've worked with the most up until this point. Okay, we also know that this very center dot right here in the middle, that point, that dot, is equal to 0, 0, right? That is where our two lines intersect. It has a special name called the origin. The origin. Now, the other 3 quadrants go in order. There's quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. This one is quadrant 2, and this one is going to be kind of like the letter I again, but it is 2 lines. 2 lines, quadrant 2. This one down here is quadrant 3. Same thing, it's going to be 3 lines with a line on top and the bottom. Hadley, Kason, and Kason. Kason, I want you to move and sit up here so so you're not tempted to talk. Now, please, I believe.
Yes.
You should have thought about that before you come. Can you walk the wheels on that desk, please? You also need your notes. On it, like this. Please hold the button down.
And then just the B is 5, right?
Yeah, so the what we're talking about, these I's with the and the B's, those are called Roman numerals.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. So this one that only has one little tick is a 1. This one that has 2 ticks is a 2. This one that has 3 ticks is a 3. This one is 4 because in Roman numerals the B stands for the number 5. And when there's a 1 in front of it, it's like saying 5 minus 1. So this one would represent 4. Okay. It's kind of silly. You could also just use numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you might see it either way. I want you to know the Roman numerals because you might see it that way, but just know they're labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I just get them confused. That's all.
And Hadley, it's confusing, and here's the trick actually I'm going to show you. You know quadrant 1, so if you start in quadrant 1 and draw the letter C through the quadrant, that is the direction that the numbers go.
I only remember 5 from the movie.
Okay, we're not talking about Roman numerals. We're talking about quadrant 1.
Okay.
Okay, so remembering the order of the quadrants, if you start in quadrant 1, go around and make the letter C, that'll help you remember the order. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Yes, Suzanne. Yes, it is also the direction of counterclockwise. If you think about the clock, this would be going backwards, the opposite direction of a clock that would normally go. Okay, counterclockwise. Okay, so we already talked about in quadrant 1, I'm going to move my paper up a little bit. In quadrant number 1, the ordered pair we have is a positive number and a positive number. Okay, remember this is how we write it. Our first number is x and our second number is y. What do you think, based on the graph that we have drawn now, what would the combination for quadrant 2 be? Or quadrant 3? Or quadrant 4? Okay, and I want you to use the graph to decide with your table what is the combination of numbers. 2 positives, 1 positive, 1 negative, 2 negatives. Okay, what is the combination you're going to get for each of the quadrants? Discuss for 1 minute, please. Okay, what do you discuss?
Wait.
Okay, which one's first? The negative or the positive? Okay, what about quadrant 3? Alex, Hadley, well, disgusting. Tanner, I want you to go sit next to Casey. Because I don't think you and Victor can sit by each other based on what you're doing right now. And he needs fantasy. So sorry.
Yes, talk about the quadrant number.
I don't have it. What do you want to start with? Did you break it? What have you been writing with? Can you go ask Nelson for they needed Okay, so turn around and discuss with your table, please. Discuss with your table. Okay, can someone please share what is something you are hypothesizing for either quadrant 2, 3, or 4? What do you think the possible combination is, Justice? Okay, you think quadrant 4 is what? Okay, Justice thinks quadrant 4 is 2 negatives. Any other hypotheses?
Victor, that is from my back.
Xander? Okay, any other guesses? Okay, I will say you guys are nearly correct. Xander, did you realize where you messed up? Yes, so it's kind of like a pattern if you notice. Positive, positive for number 1. Negative, positive for number 2. Sandra, can you explain how you do that? Right, so if we wanted to get rid of these other 3 quadrants, Keenan, bring me your water bottle. If you need water now, you have to come up and get water. Because you can't be listening to not make sounds and be distracted by it. Yeah, I know. Sorry. It really stinks. I know. We have to make better choices. If I was going to cover up quadrant 1, 3, and 4, and just look at the numbers that are on the number line part, turn around. The X numbers right here are all negative, and the Y numbers right here are all positive. So my X number would be negative, and my Y number would be positive. Same thing if I was going to cover these ones down. Notice all the numbers I'm looking at are now negative. You knew, no, but you knew what I meant, and now you're being disruptive to make a point. What I meant, sorry, I wasn't specific. I'll say it again. Stop talking to Victor. Turn your body towards the screen. Or towards your hand. Not towards Victor, and not towards the back. Is that specific enough now? Do you understand the directions, yes or no? Thank you. And if I was going to cover up for quadrant 4 now, I see positive X and negative Y. Okay, again, Justice just said to me it's kind of like a pattern. Positive, positive, negative, positive, negative, negative, positive, negative. Okay? Okay. Again, from what it sounds like, you guys know, it sounds like we know how to graph on the coordinate plane already. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to give you a sticky note. And on this sticky note, keep your notebooks out, we're not done. On this sticky note, there's a point. So this one says 4, 3. So whatever sticky note you get, you're going to take it. I'm going to call you up a couple people at a time just so we don't crowd the board. You're going to come up, you're going to take it, and you're going to find positive 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and positive 3. 1, 2, 3. So, positive 4, positive 3. Okay. And then he goes to back down here. So I will, once I give you the sticky note, hold off until I tell you to go up.
Okay, I go past now. Okay, amazing.
Kindly go up. Don't tell people what your number is. Let them pull it up. Okay, let's go. Where do you think?
That was me.
We don't apologize. Your water. I got your Fiji water. Hey, water disgusting. No, I want to do the best. This is what we Did you know when I was showering in school, he doesn't happily sit in the street. Yeah. No, that doesn't. Haha, you got one more. Hey, Howie. He's not giving me my water back.
Okay, so, Kason, you need to move and sit back here. Because when I told Tanner to sit there, I didn't mean he moved back personally. Yeah, I know. The point of moving you there was so Hadley and you could focus. So sit up there, please. So both of you have your own space to be focused.
Three times. That's what you want to do. Oh, I see it. It's over there. It's under Tanner's chair. It's over there under his chair.
Okay.
What?
Bitcoin. My dad has a Bitcoin miner in our house.
Okay, turn your eyes over here, please. Accept this. And then come sit over here.
I have a Dogecoin. I'm Nicki Minaj.
And I said if you haven't done it, you can now.
Hey, you sit and you sit, young man. Rose, I'm gonna call your mommy. Yeah.
Okay, Hadley, turn around please so you can see and know. Tanner.
Hey, it's for horses. Why am I back on the ground?
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, so looking at some of these, you guys did a pretty good job. So this first one, this is our first quadrant. All of the numbers in here should be 2 positives. I do see one that has a negative, so I'm going to take that one down. Okay, but all of them should have 2 positive numbers. This one is 2, 1. Keenan, attention up here. Probably didn't right now, sorry.
What is that?
Over 2 and up 1. Okay, this one's 2, 3. Over 2, up 3. Okay, the only one I see that is wrong is this one. This one was 1, 3. We should have gone over 1 and up. Okay, remember your first number is your X number, that is this line. Your second number is your Y number. Looking at this quadrant, what is the combination I should have of positive and negative? You don't know. Hint, it's on the screen. It's in your notes. Quadrant 2 should be what combination? Negative first, then positive. This one is negative positive. This one is negative positive, and both are plotted correctly. This one is positive negative. Which quadrant should be positive negative? Hadley.
Positive, negative is the last one, number 4.
Number 4. So this one should actually be down here at number 4.
Yeah, no.
And this one fell off, but it should be right here. Okay, moving down now to quadrant 3. I know this one's kind of hard to see. What is the combination of numbers for quadrant 3, Victor?
Negative.
Negative and negative. And all of these are also plotted correctly. Good job, guys. Okay, and then for quadrant 4, what is the combination of numbers I needed for quadrant 4? Xander. Positive first, then negative. I do see a couple that start should be in quadrant number 2. It is a shower. Okay, the rest of these are all correct, so again, good job, guys. So, next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to take a couple of these down, just so there's not so many up here. I'm only going to keep a couple of them, so we're going to do something with the next couple. Okay, so,
My grandma owns my grandma.
I own records. I own records.
Great uncle Ed owns my car.
I own records.
okay, eyes up here, please.
Oh,
Okay, now, over the top of these, I'm going to write a letter.
A+.
Okay. So now I have points A, B, C, and then D and E. So with those points, Justice, you can go back over here now since you don't need your notebook for this. In your notebook, on the bottom here, I'm nearly out of space, so this will be good. Go ahead and write A, B, C, D, and E. Make sure you leave enough space to write. With your table, keyword, with your table, I would like you to decide what each of these points are on the graph. And what quadrant they are in. So let's do A together. A is in the first quadrant, so I'm going to do the first quadrant symbol. What point is point A, Victor? 2, 2. Okay, remember, you just say the two numbers in a row. 2, 2, right? It's not like fractions where you have to add like an ending to it. You just say it's point 2, 2.
2 twos.
Okay, with your table, I want you to decide the point and the quadrant for B, C, D, and E. I'll give you 1 minute. Ready, go. Discuss with your table. Decide what is point B, C, D, and E, and what quadrant is it in. Hadley, that's not discussing what I just said. Jason, move. Because this is now the third time I've asked, and I feel like if I have to ask again, you have to go out somewhere. So, come here, please. Come here. Let's discuss then if you don't understand what your expectation is right now. What was the direction I told you?
B is 2.
Sit there. Okay, and you sat there, and then you move, and then I told you to sit there again. And did you ever move to that seat? No. Why? No, is there no reason why? You just didn't want to?
Miss Connor.
That is being.
I don't get that.
And you know I don't follow it. So, now, I don't want to have a story. Yes, Hadley.
I don't understand. Or the B, or the C, or the D, or the E.
What?
What?
So we said point A was on 2, 2, and it was in quadrant 1. Point B.
What I put this in dropped your black run. So I had to put
Goes right here.
that means it's actually higher.
It goes right here.
Oh my goodness.
No, that's not there.
No, I think C and D are 2, and then D, 3, and then E for
B.
It turned red.
No, A would be because it's on the second black line on the bottom on the page. It does. No, you're right. It does. This is what I really did. So what was originally on the stance is now different. Okay, can someone please tell me what is point B? Hadley.
B and C are quadrant 2
Good. B and C are quadrant 2.
because they're together.
Right, they're both in the same quadrant, and that's I purposely made our X and Y lines bright pink so you could really see them.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really easy to see that they're both in quadrant 2. What are the actual ordered pairs, the actual points for B?
-3.
-3, 1. Wonderful. What is the point for C? What is point C? Casey, bring me those cards, please. Not 2.
Wait, -1 of 4.
So for point C, bring them together. Because now we're all waiting on you. Yeah. Follow the directions that you tell me your
No, but it is. B and C are on the same box.
Yes, B and C are in the same box. They're both quadrant 2. For point B, we go over 3 and up 1. And that over 3 is into the negatives. For point C, we only go over to -1, but then we go up to +3. Hadley, what is D?
So D is section 3 and E is section 4.
Good. D
You're welcome.
is quadrant 3 and E is quadrant 4. What are the coordinate pairs? Justice, one over. -1, -3 is D. And what about E? But then you can put your whole back up. Because I don't want you to be tempted. What is point E? Paris, whatever you're doing, put it away. TC, either bring your whole backpack up here or bring me the cards. Because I don't want you to be tempted at my time. Okay, so put your backpack up here. So put your backpack up. I don't need to explain it to you right now. Do it now.
And my best friend is
Okay, Justin, what is E? For point E, we are at +2 and -1. Yes, Brandon. Oh, I wrote it backwards. Sorry, that was me. -3, -1. Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm going to flip the page just because I am out of room. Alright, now we are going to get into what our learning goal specifically is now that we've discussed the background information we need for this. So, if we look back at our learning goal, it was, I can reflect an ordered pair across any given axis.
So was that my name or is that the name of the title?
The learning goal for today, the thing we are focusing on is what we wrote at the beginning. I can reflect an you know what that word means normally. I want you to think about how it could be applied to what we are talking about right now with graphing and the coordinate plane. Share with your table, please. I'll give you 1 minute. What do you think? How do you think you're going to be using this reflection?
I think I'm going to be using this reflection.
What do you think?
Myself?
I think I'm going to use this reflection. That
What do you know about the word
understand
reflect,
a
and
little
how do you
better.
think it's going to apply to what we're talking about with graphing?
How? Wait, can I have one? Can I have one?
Okay, Victor, clear the hat to right with
I want to call it on myself.
Hey, so
Okay, Victor, now please. So, the word reflection. What do you think about when you hear the word reflection? What do you think it means in terms of graphing? Victor.
A mirror.
A mirror. Good. Anything else you think of with reflection or something that you might feel like we're going to do with this graph? Justice?
I think we're going to write it.
Okay, maybe it has something to do with our relationship between positive and negative numbers. Peyton, last thing. Okay, I like what Peyton said. He says, like, if you have 1, 1 on the graph and you mirror it to the other side, it would be like a different point. Bingo, that's exactly it. So, our definition, if you're turned around, so you need to write, for reflection, it's very similar to what Victor said about a mirror. We're going to be creating a mirror image on the other side of this graph. So, a reflection is a point that is flipped
Bless you.
That is the opposite. I mean, it's
Bless you.
over an axis to create a mirror image.
Wait, no, the other side is really wide.
Okay, so this is the example that I'm going to do for you.
I'm telling you, okay.
Yogurt.
Okay, turn your attention over here and Shane can be my volunteer. Help me.
I can get all the kids.
Victor, I might need a second person depending on this. Okay, so this is my demonstration to you of reflection. So I'm going back to my original point 4, 3.
Like this?
Over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, up, 1, 2, 3, plot the point. Now, if I wanted to create a mirror image of this point, I would need to do so by either choosing our x line or the y line. Okay, I'm going to choose the y line to start. And if I wanted to create a mirror image of this point on the other side of the y line, it's kind of like folding it in half.
I'll fold that.
If I take this and I go like this,
Oh, the way to navigate it.
now where is it?
On the other side.
Alan. So originally it was positive 4, positive 3.
Oh, you want the number?
Yes, I want the number. I flipped it over and now it's on the other side. Now it's
Negative 5 up 4.
you're a number up. Over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I need boxes
Up 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, what number changed? So now I'm at negative 4, positive 3. Which number changed? Peyton? Which number changed? 4, 4, right? 4 changed from being now if I wanted to take the same point, Kenan, throw that away, please. Tanner, sit down. If I want to take the same point and reflect it over the x-axis now,
What did you say? It looks bubble that. I know that.
No more money.
Now the eight.
No more money.
Yeah.
They're bad.
B.
it's not exact because obviously Cheyenne was armed and my arm was away. Okay, but if I reflected it down, it would go all the way down actually to -3, but still be on positive 4. So what's your change for your
B.
3?
It's sticky.
You're done. You're done. You're done.
Okay, so now that we know that, get this back in place here.
What you do back there?
Fixing it. So now that we know that, I'm going to put points A, B, and C back up here. So point A, point A was 2, 2, over 2, up 2. Point B was -3, +1. Okay, so now I have these 2 points up here. Stop, Kenan. Kenan and Justin. He just said stop too, and you continued. Interesting. So now I have point A and point B back up there on the screen or on the whiteboard. Point A was 2, 2, and point B was -3, 1. Copy this down, please. Okay, how we notate, meaning how we show that now we're finding the reflected point, is you still put the letter, but you put like a little 1 next to the number, or next to the letter. That's how you know that we're reflecting. So, for both point A and point B, we are going to reflect it over the x-axis. So, if I took these 2 points,
Oh yeah, take that point down.
and I went like this, and I flipped it down again, where would these points be on the other side?
The other side.
Okay, but what would the point be, Victor? That's what I'm thinking.
Oh. I think I'm right.
So Justice says for A, that I found the reflected point of A.
If we negative, I'll do a negative.
A is here, and I'm flipping it over the x and going on the other side of x. Where is it going to be?
Negative 2, 2.
-2, 2 is here.
Oh. I know that.
Justice?
Positive 2.
Okay, -2, +2 is here.
Positive 2, negative 1.
That would be correct, Justice, if I said the y-axis. So remember, this is the y. That would be correct if I said y. I want to flip it over this one, over the x. Victor?
Positive 2, negative.
+2, -8. Okay, our reflected point A would be a +2, -2. That's what you're going to write next to your reflected point here. That was right. +2, -2. What about point B? If I was going to reflect point B over the x-axis, where is it going to be, Brandon? -3, -1. Okay? -3, -1. Notice in these 2 examples, we're going to do y. Again, you're going to notate it like this. This is how you show that this is the reflected point, right? It's not the original. For this one, Justice guessed it, right? We're going to flip it over the y-axis this time. Okay, let me get our points up here on the board. C was negative 1. 1. Or negative 3. What? Yep, negative 1, 3. And D, negative 3.
What are you looking at?
Okay, so now I'm taking these two values and I'm flipping them over the y-axis. That is this one now. Where are these 2 points going to fall? Stop. Both of you. You don't care who started it, but Justice. Positive 1, negative 3. Which point is that one, Justice? D or C? So, what's the again? Positive 1, negative 3 would be here. That doesn't match. Positive 3, negative 1 would be up here, which is correct. That is D. Okay, so notice D, I'm going to relate this. Keenan and Ian and Tanner and Kason stop talking. Noticing this, both point original D and the reflected point D are the same distance from our y line. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, tying in some stuff that we learned with absolute value, your reflected point should be the same distance from the axis you are flipping it over. So now that we've talked about that, where is point C on the other side of the y-axis? Positive 1, positive 3. Okay, so getting this written down into your notebook. Now we're at positive 1 and positive 3 for C reflected, and point D reflected is now at positive 3, negative 1. Again, notice which number is changing when we reflect over the y-axis. Justice. Eric. Right, so Justice noticed that these first two numbers change compared to these ones. That's our x number. So our x value changes when we reflect over the y. Does anyone notice a pattern between those two things? Between when we reflect over x, when we reflect over x, y changes, and when we reflect over y, x changes. Well, anybody notice anything about that? No. It's standard. Right. The thing I was specifically looking at is when x changes, or when we reflect over x, y is the value that changes. It's the opposite value. Okay? So personally, I would have thought that when we reflect over x, that the x would change, but that's not the case. When we called a graph. There's an x line and a y line. Fancy name for it is x-axis and y.
Why did we need our workbooks? We didn't.
Hadley, I didn't say to get your workbooks. However, you guys are normally in the drill of getting them because you're right. Normally we do use them. Today we did not. But we're already using it, so it's great. Okay, the last thing that we are going to do.
We're gonna have a party.
I'm going to pass out this paper to you. Okay, this is going to be our little exit slip for today. Okay, so the directions for this are, fix it there. The directions for this are to plot the points on problems 1 through 4 and label each on the coordinate plane. So just as I did with A, B, C, D, E, you would do these points A, B, C, and D. You're going to plot the point and you're going to label it with the letter. After you've plotted these 4 points, you have 2 questions to be answering. If point B above is reflected across the x-axis, what would be the coordinate of the reflection? And explain. Question 6 would be, from the points you plotted on the graph, which is a possible coordinate that would end in quadrant 2 after being reflected? So you have to decide if you were to reflect one of these 4 points, which one would end up in quadrant 2. This is an exit ticket, which you guys all know
Okay, go home.
means that I am looking for what you know about this. I'm not looking for you to ask me questions. I'm not looking for you to be asking the people next to you questions. I am looking for what you, not the person next to you, knows.
Baby. The wood food, and I would. Tanner, we found you. We found you, Tanner. Oh, wait, let me see.
Jalen is my cousin.
Tanner and Jalen.
I have a cousin named
Hey, DJ, out. Victor, sit down over here. Get to work, please. Hadley, put the money away.
I finished mine first. He said he should be ready when I started arguing, and I still finished first.
I don't know. That sounds like
Oh.
you know that I'm reading this because you don't know who did where.
I would never decide.
Wait, is this a grade or no?
You are getting a grade on this, yes. So for number 1 through 4, you are plotting them onto the graph. You put a dot where the point is. No talking, please. You are plotting the 4 points and then answering the question. When you are done, please bring it to me. Harris, assigned seat. Let's try the
Now I have to wait another week for it to grow back.
Focus on yourself, please, instead of telling each other to focus on yourselves instead of telling each other to Can you focus? Okay. You need to plot all of these points on the graph. You're not just circling. Karen, you need to plot all 4 points. Hi, Marianne. Plot this one.
I need my name. Wow, that's a chicken.